Okay, we're going to reconvene from closed session. Before we move forward, I need to correct something that I forgot to read when we adjourned for closed session. At the 3A, we adjourned to closed session, and the procedural reports were a conference with labor negotiators, public employee discussion, discipline, dismissal, release, conference with legal counsel, and student matters. Now, returning after closed session, I need to report that there is nothing to report because no action was taken. So we will reconvene to the regular meeting at 7:31. Ms. Taxon, would you do flag salute for me, please?
Civility statement, communicate clearly and concisely with respect for the time of others. Listen objectively, carefully, considering the opinions of others. Understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors. Understand and respect district policies and procedures. Maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past.
Closed session, no action was taken, so there is nothing to report about closed session reports.
President.
Yes, Mr. Paul.
There are a lot of people in the audience tonight. Is there an agenda item you all are here for that we have listed very late that would prolong everybody having to stay up and not do their homework and get to bed?
So, school board members, so we have a Golden Spotlight recognition. We have our students, we have some student athletes from High Desert as well as Vasquez, and they are right after 6A, public comment, Golden Spotlight.
Is there any group of individuals that are here for an agenda item to be discussed later? Perfect, thank you.
Public comments recognition, Dr. Paul and Dr. Sahabi.
Any public comment cards at this time? There are none for 6A. Mr. Jorgensen.
Thank you. 6B, Golden Spotlight, Dr. Sahabi.
Yes, sir. So tonight we're recognizing our district's quality athletic programs and our amazing student athletes. Thank you to those who are here this evening with us. We appreciate your time. We'll start with our Mustangs. Our Mustangs girls cross country team survived their season undefeated throughout 2021. We have some slides up there and some wonderful pictures. Thank you, Dr. Murphy and Vasquez team for providing that. In addition, the Vasquez High School boys varsity basketball held its first annual Holiday Classic basketball tournament over winter break. Dr. Murphy's here. Would you mind coming up to the podium, sir, to recognize the Vasquez athletes at this time for Golden Spotlight?
Sure thing. We'll start with the women's cross country. The Mustang women's cross country team survived their season undefeated through 2021. As a result, they were awarded league champions and moved on to CIF prelims in November at Mount Sac in Walnut, California. Members of the squad developed a self-imposed, rugged schedule that required them that they begin practicing last summer with early morning runs on DHS's campus and at Vasquez Rocks. The team consists of the following varsity members. Marie Poppy, she's my kid, I should know that. Marie Poppy, Haley Rudd, Leilani McLaws, Isabella Galvez, Emily Hunanian, and Marina Costin. Women's cross country fiercely fought against many rivals in the Heritage League, which included Palmdale Aerospace, Faith Baptist, Desert Christian, and St. Monica. Noteworthy achievements thus far were Leilani McLaws, Marie Poppe, and Marina Costin were on the High Desert cross country team when competitive sports were first introduced. Together, they won the Silver League in middle school 2 years in a row before matriculating to Vasquez. VHS's women's top 3 CIF preliminary times were Marie Poppe at 15:31.3, coming in 21st out of 87 runners. Leilani McLaws at 15:42.8, coming in at 31st. and Haley Rudd at 15:45, 2, coming in at 32nd place. Vasquez High School and women's cross country want to especially thank Coach McKnight as he served countless hours supporting the team throughout his 4 years at VHS. Coach McKnight recently retired and we are indebted to his contribution.
Thank you, Dr. Murphy. We also would like to invite up a special guest, Mr. Carlo Paseo, field representative from Office of Assemblyman Lakey, to recognize the VHS girls cross country team. Thank you for being here, sir.
It is it's my pleasure, and it's Assemblyman Tom Lakey's pleasure to recognize every high school athlete who excels in the district. Now, he's a firm believer that everyone every high school and junior high student participate in organized sports. It's a good part of developing the full student, the full citizen, the full character of every child. And as part of this, he loves to recognize league champions, and it's our pleasure to present the 6 individuals with individual certificates. They're right here. Are there any students here?
No students are here either.
Okay. I'm going to just take guesses. Emily? And notice I didn't try to pronounce your last name. Unanya.
They should stand in front with.
Isabella Galvez. Marie Papi. Anyway. This is it.
Go on up,
Marie
Marie.
Papi.
Crossing. Excuse me.
And Leilani McLaughlin. Thank you very much.
Can we get a picture with Carla?
Dear students, if you could stand right here at the dais so we can take a picture. Mr. Carlo Paseo, if you could be the honors as well, as Dr. Murphy and our board.
This is for the high
We
school.
also have their trophy for
The high
CIF.
school.
We need Coach
We have
McKnight.
Coach in the back there.
Is the coach here?
Coach McKnight?
You should come up.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Coach McKnight. Thank you, students. Thank you, Mr. Paseo and Dr. Murphy. In addition, our High Desert Boys Cross Country placed first in the Silver League. Our High Desert Girls team have placed first in 2019 and 20, but this is their first place win for the boys team for High Desert. Ms. Van Ornum, there she is. Would you mind coming up to the podium to recognize our High Desert athletes at this time for the Golden Spotlight along with Mr. Paseo? Thank you.
All right, so good evening, school board and superintendent and Yolanda and all of our audience. We are so happy today to present our High Desert boys cross country team. This is a first for us, for our boys to have placed within the top 3, so that's very exciting for us to have a really strong boys team. We are super proud of them. We had 3 walk-on coaches, actually parent volunteers. And so without them, this season would not have happened this year. So I would really like to thank them. Coach Molly Zorba is hiding back over there. Molly, come on up. There we go. And then Gisela Rivas, who could not be here tonight, and Coach Mari McLaws. So, and they're all pictured there. So we just really want to thank them for, at High Desert, all of our sports are volunteer coaches. We don't yet have stipends for them, and so they truly do give their all, and we are so excited to have them and happy that they are willing to spend their time. None of them had players on the team, so they did it just because they love running and they love the sport and they want the kids to be amazing. So thank you to all of you guys. And then, without further ado, we want to make sure that we recognize all of these awesome boys over there. Our boys.
Coaches, could you come stand up here, and then the athletes could join you, so all the, everybody else, we really appreciate the hard work. Thank you.
So our boys finished, almost all of them finished within the top 40 out of 90 students. And we were competing against all of the schools. So for cross country, we don't just compete against small schools in the Silver League. We're competing against all the schools in the Tri-District League. So it's a big step up for us, and which makes it that much more competitive. And so when you see all 90 of those guys out there running together, it's quite the feat. So we are very, very proud of their success this year and their hard work. And so we want to go ahead and recognize them. Boys, as I call your name, if you could come up. Mr. Shane Prosser. Gavin Dawson.
Tom, you're in the way.
Michael Williams. Levi Klaus. Christopher Larson. Leonardo Rivas. More boys standing over there.
Ben.
Pop out.
Ben.
Oh, there's Ben Hagum. So, boys who are...
I got more. There's some others back here.
Oh, there's more. Come out, come out. They're being shy, sorry. So, Robbie Spears, Tommy Spears, and Sammy Red. So, and
Thank you very much for a wonderful season. You kids have done great. You're going to do better next year. Or some of you are going on to high school, of course. But we just have Assemblyman Tom Lackey would just love to recognize you all, and has a certificate here for each name. I did not catch all the names on the way up, so you're going to have to sort them out yourself. I'll give you the bundle in a couple of minutes, all right? Hold on. Thank you. Just grab one each for the photo, and we'll sort them as we go through, all right?
Double stack, one piece down.
Haley Rudd here is what I heard, and she is part of our winning Mustangs girls cross country team, who is undefeated so throughout 2021. So congratulations to Haley Rudd as well.
Is there any board member comments, Ms. Jensen?
I'll make my comments when we make our comments, but thank you to Tom Lackey's office for coming and recognizing me. I just want you to know, and you should leave, that I appreciate your time. And congratulations, what we have the parents here. Thanks for all your support, and what a wonderful evening. And Haley, it looks like you're coming from another game, so we appreciate all your participation in all sports. You were late for this one because you were doing something else, so thank you, Haley.
Thank you, student athletes. The cross country, I used to try to run cross country to stay in shape for hockey, and it was miserable for me, and I failed miserably. And it is something that is all about you, and it can be very lonely, and for you all to place. And just going out there with a very small team and seeing tons of athletes from another school can be daunting in and of itself. I appreciate your representation of this district, and I'm sure you all have wonderful grades as well.
Can I please jump in, because
No,
I thought
go ahead.
our volunteers left. So thank you so much for volunteering your time, and wow, thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. And just to have such a great season, and you can see it helps our high school as they move along. So thank you so much. Congratulations, boys, and very nice looking t-shirts. Good job.
Congratulations to all of the teams that were honored. So many familiar faces. Walking out from closed session and seeing all of the parent faces and the kid faces definitely brought a smile to my face. I miss you guys. So it was awesome that you guys could do what you do and then come and share that with us and really build our schools. When you go out into the valley, in the Antelope Valley, and you build our schools and you do great things and you put our little school on the map, you are doing amazing things for our little town out there in the big world. So thank you and congratulations on your accomplishments, and thank you to our volunteers. You guys are amazing.
Congratulations to the girls and the boys at both schools. I think it's great to see the enthusiasm and the amount of participation that we have going on, especially at High Desert. And it's great to see the community kind of coming together and supporting it and just rallying around behind our small schools. The coaches and volunteer, thank you so much for your time. It doesn't go unnoticed, and in a difficult time that we live in right now, for you to step out and be involved in these kids' life, it means a lot to them, it means a lot to the community, so thank you for that.
I want to thank Settlement Lackey's representative for coming here to recognize our student athletes and their accomplishments. And then hats off to the volunteer coaches. I know what it is to be a coach, and it's fun working with young athletes, and the fact that you have mostly 7th graders, if I heard that correct, Silver League's going to be a great thing for next year for the Hawks. So congratulations to all the athletes, because there's a direct connection to athletic involvement and academic success, and I really appreciate all your hard work and getting out there and running. Ms. Van Orn, thank you for doing all the leadership over there at High Desert, and Dr. Murphy over at Vasquez. Athletics coming out of this pandemic is going to be the thing that gets our kids back in the classroom and success, and we're looking forward to some more of that. Congratulations again. Number 7, correspondence, proposals, reports. AATA representative.
That go from 23 to 30 that are down to 7, 8. How do you teach new content to 8 kids and then leave behind 23? We have when I first started at Vasquez, we had 19 full-time teachers. We have 13 on staff. 1 quit, so now we have 12. The workload stays the same. Dr. Murphy's here in the house. I appreciate everything that man's doing. He is arriving at 6:45. I'm there. He's opening the front gate. I'm opening the back gate. He's the first person in the classroom. He's in the classroom teaching every single day, teaching an English class, on top of being principal. So it's not just Ada who's stepping up, but it's site representatives. It is not easy. If you talk to Ada members right now, they're so, we're blessed where we work, not going to lie to you. Most people enjoy being here. There's a lot of good things. Students are awesome. Families are awesome. A lot of challenges, but for the most part, small community, get to know students by name. A lot of good things that happen in our classrooms, and it keeps teachers coming back. But if you were to talk to them today, if you were to talk to the nurse is overwhelmed. I mean, go talk to her. Go up, just walk over there, walk in and just see what her day looks like for just 10 minutes. I can't imagine all the new mandates that come out weekly. You know, she has literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails, and I'm not exaggerating, that she has to send out daily. We wake up in the morning. Most teachers wake up in the morning. Most staff members wake up and we get an email that says we've been exposed. In my class this week, I had a classroom full of 4. You know, they're not very big classrooms. So every day we wake up and we're sitting there going, okay, are we really putting our health at risk here? And we are. And again, we're not asking for anything, but it's part of the drain. It's part of the weight that a lot of members carry. We had an Ada member quit. I mean, just mid-season, just quit. Never seen that before, ever. I know I've only been teaching for 10 years total and only 6 here at Vasquez. I've never seen that. It's very odd. We have Ada members who are sick. seriously sick. I'm not saying that I'm attributing it to the stress, not saying I'm attributing it to the job. This is just the reality that we face with every single day. On top of, now that we have less, we have to do more. We go from 19 to 13, and yet the workload stays the same, on top of COVID. And when you have staff members who are leaving, then we have to pick up the slack. Again, I'm not complaining. It's what we do. It's what teachers do. It's part of the job. It's part of the routine. The commitment level. There's no way you could question the commitment level of Ada right now. It breaks my heart that there's some families that are going through it. And I don't know. I have members every single day, and I'm not exaggerating, looking for sparks. Can you write me your letter of recommendation? The job, the profession is becoming more and more difficult. And this is affecting now our 3rd school year. We're coming up on 2 years come March 15th. And we're in the trenches every single day, dealing with it, trying to manage it, and yet we don't have enough resources. But to be honest with you, we do not have enough resources. I understand the financial predicament. I do. I understand that we are losing ADA. I understand that we are losing enrollment. But when you take a counseling staff and reduce it down, and then bring more mental health activities, programs to the table, you're requiring them to do more with less resources. I don't know if you talked to counseling today. It was a hard day for our counselors. A lot of mental health issues going on in all 3 schools. You should talk to them. You should get their perspective. You should see what they deal with. All day, all counseling was dealing with mental health issues. They still got other jobs to do. They still got other responsibilities. How do they catch up? Nurse Carrie, I know you brought in another help for her. She is overwhelmed. And you know what? She gets criticized more than any other person through this COVID fiasco. Parents are on her, staff is on her, district's on her. She feels isolated. She's just doing her job. And she's the point man on it. And she feels like she's taking all the arrows. And I'm not sitting here trying to come out tonight and say, woe is that. What I am trying to say is we're doing our best job. We really are. We go to work every single day and we serve our community, we serve our kids, and we do it exceptionally. Not 100% of us, but most of us. This is a calling, this is a lifestyle, this is who we are. And I hope that you see that. I hope you recognize that. I hope you don't think that we're here just slacking. Because that's the reputation that we hear a lot on social media, a lot in the community. It's the teacher's fault. It's the teacher's fault. I'll tell you what, the reason we're back on campus for the last 2 years is because of that. Because we went to it and said, hey, get us back on campus. This is what's best for our community. Love being here. I hope you recognize that we need resources, that we need help. And we see that we do have resources. We do. And I'm wondering if you're ever going to use those resources to really, really, really serve the community that you're hired to. Thank you.
Comfortable knowing what your parameters are, and they're very tight, believe me. And so, I just want to say, understand our role and what it is. Now, that said, there are a lot of boring things that we have to do and a lot of challenges. I will tell you this, when I first came and sat out here, here's what the agenda looked like. If you wanted to see the agenda for the board meeting, you drove to a district site, a school, the county library, or out here, and you looked at it through a glass and you took a picture of it. The agenda had no staff report, it had no warrant register, it had no personnel action report. If you wanted those things, you had to ask for them. And then sometimes I asked for things and I was met with an attorney letter from the administration at that time, spending your money to stop me from getting the information to inform myself about how to sit up here. I remember seeing things come up on the superintendent report. The superintendent might introduce something completely off the agenda, and then board members, some of them would say, hey, let's talk about that a little bit. Do I have a consensus about that? What do you think about that? One board member sat down at the end and refused to participate. Rest in peace, Larry Layton, because he knew it wasn't the right thing to do. We have come so far in just the agenda part of this since I joined this board, and I pushed and pushed and pushed and wrote nasty editorials and all that. Of course, I wasn't paid to write them, but we have come a very long, long ways. Now, the last piece of my puzzle was this. I said, I want the board meetings televised, which they're done. That's happened for quite some time now. But the problem is, if you can't be here, I don't expect you to sit up here. Remember, we are up here to do business that you don't have to do. And if you don't trust any of us to do that, then there's a huge issue. But I still want the board meetings available for people to view later. Now, there's two trains of thought. I come from the liberal end of that. Put everything out there. Everything I said last week, put it out there. Let it be part of the record. The California School Boards Association pushes the train of thought. Don't put anything out there more than you need to. Because what ends up happening is sometimes people years later take bits and pieces of things and concoct a puzzle together that's so far out of context you don't know what it means. I would hate to think you have news people that represent one thing and another in a collusionary concoction of, well, this is what this is. And there's only one way to prevent that from happening, and that's to load up your own content. You should never have a third party being dependent on your content that memorializes what your board has done. And you should not be afraid of people coming along like this, because if you're eloquent enough to explain it, you should be able to do that. Now, we have wanted to do this for quite some time, but there have been some problems. We all know what Zoom is. This meeting is running on a Zoom link tonight. I know what Zoom is from work. You guys know, you get that person at work that they're driving to work in a car late. They don't want anybody to know they're late, but they want everybody to say that they were in the meeting. So they click in and out of the meeting. Hey, it's Ken, it's Ken. There's Ken. Vote for Ken, there's Ken. I'm in the meeting. You get people that hijack chat rooms and make, that a mess and take distraction away from the business at hand. You get people that decide to hack into a meeting. How many of you remember that night that we had where the wonderful gentleman appeared on the screen? That is grossly inappropriate. There is no way that someone should be exposed to that. If that's a child's first glimpse at an adult, you can't have those kinds of things. So there have been all kinds of challenges come with using Zoom as a meeting link. How many of you think that attendees to a board meeting should be forced to sign in and have their identity known at the meeting? If you step up and you speak, that's one thing. If you choose to remain anonymous and you send something into the board and ask, could you read this anonymously? I've been known to read those letters. But there is nothing that says that you are required to sign in and have your name displayed on a screen or read into the public record. What happens on a Zoom meeting if I hit the wrong screen? Everybody who's in the room can see your name up there. The legal said, no, that's not appropriate. You can't do that. And so, data breaches, protection of the public's right to anonymity in attending board meetings have all been issues. This board jumped to board docs. This district jumped to the program called Board Docs a couple of years ago. And that is a very good platform to use for school board meetings because it forces you to populate the reports and everything. But the trade-off is that is run off the Zoom platform. Now we're back in this endless cyclical thing of we can't broadcast our meeting after the meeting takes place. So the IT guys, you know that they're working, trying to get messages out there, communicate the right emails to the right groups groups of people that Mr. Sparks is talking about, they're affected by this and this and this. You've got all these reports coming up. You have to populate this plan, that plan. The guys are running themselves ragged if they're not sick themselves sometimes. So I'm happy to announce tonight that finally we can right now pull up on that screen. Now, right now, I'm kind of sweating it because whatever's on the screen right there in the background when he shares screen is going to come up, and I hope it's not a list of the attendees of the board meeting. But is there a way you could pull up the district website live right now and show people how to access last week's board meeting? I like it that we're getting there this way.
Video, right?
Yes.
So you go to Board of Education, then Board Meeting Video.
Please click it. What you're seeing on the right there is videos.
Build your brand online with a beautiful logo. Just go to Wix Logo Maker.
But finally, we are able to broadcast and be in charge of our own, in control of our own content. When you leave the control of your historic content to third parties, you take what comes with that. And I will say this, and I will say this as delicately as possible. What I had to say last week, I think I made it very clear about why it's important to me that we escape the past, the dependencies of the past, whatever was going on in the past, and realize that this board is in charge of this person who is in charge of a lot of great things coming on quickly. And I would tell you that most of the people that have been here have been the same people for years. And I find it hard to believe that just because he walks in the door with an Armani suit on and is prettier than the last ones, that you guys all of a sudden hop too. Or that the gentleman back here running money goes and finds $2.2 million of legal money. Or that we have somebody that's not noisy that I have to beg to find out how this happens sitting over there. That I have principals that are dragging kids in here that are in volume that I worry about the structural weight of the floor. Congratulations. It took a long time for this board to get here. I sent a very strong message. Do not slander me in my community. I'm not going to take credit for the work of others, but do not slander me in my own community and expect that I will tolerate it. That said, let's move on to the part about third-party coverage of the board meetings. The first thing that I would suggest is, if you look at the coverage of the meeting by a third party last meeting, while my comments were being made, make sure that your mic is not live, because the comments you're making, might not want that. And I'm going to be gracious enough tonight to say that I'll make a call to the corporate office of that interest, and we'll work it out, and no one will ever know. We'll all do what we're going to do, but I'm done. Next, the part I talked about being in a Zoom meeting, if you're displaying the name of all the people who are attending the board meeting, the rules that govern you are no different than the rules that govern us. Please don't display the name of the attendees. Please don't click on them. Please don't show us who you're texting. And please turn the volume down so I can't hear the texts and things that are coming in. These are the kinds of things that create situations that cause people to take actions.